Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to our final episode of Goosebumps The Vanishing as we check out Episode 8 Invasion of the Body Squeezers. A noted two-part book, but for the majority of this series, just a one-part episode. Though, as David has pointed out, probably could have been a two-parter. But as you can see, we got David back, we got Nolan and Grayson. How you guys doing? How you feeling with our little Goosebumps adventure we were on?
It's been fun, but I'm glad that it's reached the end.
Yeah, thank God we're at the final episode. Good God. Anyway.
I relatively have the same sentiment. It's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. It just, definitely glad we're done with that. Especially after that last episode, anyways.
I think that heavy sigh sums it up really well. It was great, guys. See you next week.
And Daredevil's going to be the next discussion, so can't wait to see you. Have a good night,
yeah,
guys.
So
the whole season can be described as all right.
It was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Grayson, do you want to run down the synopsis of this final episode for us?
Want to? No, but I will.
I don't even think you have to, dude. Just hit.
I was going to say, I was literally just going to say, it's done. We're here. It wrapped up. Alien gone. Everybody lives their life. Hooray!
And literally just gone. We just got to open the door.
Like in the last 10 minutes, which was wild. It was just alien gone. Everything's fixed. We're happy. We're going back to school. Hooray!
Yeah, that was again just what?
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Daredevil next week.
No, I will say though, lots of questions with, I don't know, just the final aspects of this episode, as far as why did everyone turn into weird alien roly-poly bug things?
I don't know.
That wasn't even a roly-poly. It was like a mix between what is it? You guys ever watch Great Wall with Matt Damon? It looked like one of those dogs, but with a harder carapace for some reason, like a lobster. It was honestly like a lobster crab dog, is how I would describe it.
Either I am too smart for this, or I am just so dumb that I don't get it. But I do not understand anything that happened in this fucking episode that they're trying to say about the season. Were they aliens all along? Did the aliens just take the shape of these people? Did they meld together and just have their memories? And why the fuck did they have that whole sequence where they're in the tunnel, we gotta go with them now? What?
Yeah, why did the doctor lady, why was she there? Did she turn? We didn't even see her turn into an alien.
No, we watched her dad turn into a lobster dog, and then
he literally gave up his life so that she wouldn't be trapped there and become whatever.
Yeah, that was.
And why couldn't they live there? Why did it matter? And why were they we got to go with the aliens? Why would you do that? Why would you choose? I'm gonna go to the other. What?
I was just confused because they gave no motivation for the aliens. They didn't have a why were they there? They didn't. None of that kind of shit was answered either.
I can answer all your questions right now. The plot. You're welcome. Anyway,
but there wasn't one.
Yeah, but I was yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. The script. Anyway, continue.
And here's another one that I have a question about. If all these people went that had been captured, vanished, or whatever, they were in the pods, and then all the people in the pods became aliens. How come none of the kids that had been put in a pod had to go? They got to stay as normal people. And
because
why
obviously
didn't they take Dr. Brenner? Yeah.
Also, why didn't David Schwimmer turn into a dog? He was in a pod thingy or whatever for a while. But everybody else, Trey,
and an old people Trey, who was a ghost car and a zombie weird alien plant
this dude with so many different objects, and then it just
we still don't know where the car is.
Yeah, I know.
But we do know he puked up like a slug. So
you all are just using common sense, logic, following story beats. If you just flip the brain off and just don't think about it, it makes sense.
Is that how that works?
100% agree. This was just the question. Just it's infuriating how unresolved or just unsatisfactory this ending was.
Oh yeah, so I'm glad I didn't spend I don't know a day watching this, where it was I'm just gonna go ahead and binge watch all of it. You know what I mean? I'm so glad I didn't do that, and I did this in a on a week by week basis of like pretty much watching the episode like a few hours before we start, doing this. Yeah, because dude, I'd have been upset if I'm like watching it and it turns out like this, and I'm like, that was a waste of my time. Like this is almost a worse ending than like How I Met Your Mother, and that's a pretty high bar. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, imagine having to do that twice, because I blew through it because I thought we were going to do a review all on the same day, and then I got dropped the bomb of we're doing it week by week. So I had to go through and refresh myself on the memories I was trying to refresh.
Ooh. Not only once, but twice. That's tough. You gotta deal with the BS that is this show or this ending. Like, like I said, realistically, David was right. Like last week, I have so many more questions than I came away with answers at the finish of this show, and it's rather upsetting if I'm being honest.
Well, because I'm spit out your questions. Let's hear them, because then maybe we can.
First question, right? Yeah. First question: why didn't Schwimmer turn into a dog? He was potted like everybody else.
No answer. Keep going.
Okay.
What's the timeline for you to actually become a carapace, or where it's too late for you to be human again?
No answer. Keep going.
Oh yeah, like it's right. Is there a time limit? Is there a limit of a statute of limitations on becoming a dog lobster? A lobster? Anyways, there's that. 3. Why did these like lobster dog things just pod the kids and that was it? Like, and then
great question. No answer. Keep going.
Yeah. 4. Why were the aliens even there? What was the purpose of them being there? You know,
that was very thoroughly explained in Nothing That We Ever Saw. No answers. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, thought so. Because most of the time they go, oh, these aliens are here for our water, our sunlight, we grow hot dogs that are unique here or something. Whatever it is, right? Some dumbass reason. Usually there's something like that. This was, oh, this is a spaceship. This is dangerous. We got to learn how to defeat it. That's it. Makes zero sense. And then even more so than that, when he's like, oh, I was part of them. Like, they were in my brain hole when I was in the pod thing or whatever. And I was like, well, shouldn't everybody have had that fucking thought? Like that same idea of like, we're all a hive mind here in the pods or whatever. Like, why are you special? I don't understand why you're special, why you don't turn into a dog, or why you have some weird mind meld connection with them. But he was just like, we just gotta let him go. And it's like, did they tell you that? Did you figure that out by yourself? Like, I don't,
here's my bigger problem. We've seen that the conflict the aliens had was that they needed to leave, correct?
Yeah, close encounters. Yeah,
we've seen that they have physical bodies at some point or something that they can do, or take over the other bodies, whatever.
Do they?
Why didn't they just let themselves go?
Realistically, that's a really good question, because the ship, right, has this little like arm thingy that's like punching.
Either that or it showed us that they could be in the bodies of the people they potted or whatever. So when they took those first scientists, why not then use that body and push the button?
Like I did.
Or even if we say they couldn't do that, we have seen that they can get out and talk to people, like how we had Hannah and all that. Why didn't Hannah just show up to Devin and be like, hey, we're aliens trapped in this place. We need you to come and hit a button. Please come help us.
Come and just hit the button. Push the goddamn button. Like that. That's literally it. Yeah, I don't.
And you know what? We still have no idea why the Hannah ghost tried to get Devin to fucking jump off that thing, except that he would be dead.
Well, so that's another bit too. Is this like,
no,
do you want
it
help?
Doesn't make sense.
Or yeah, because then she was like, I feel like we met each other. And it's like, how? Because if you were in the pod the whole time, you weren't also a ghost.
Also, so now that I've seen it, I can bring up the fact that Frankie seemed totally cool that Devin was like obsessed with Hannah for those few days, but now that she's gone, he's like, oh, I guess I'll just go back to Frankie. And she's like, yeah, I love you.
That's cool. Yeah,
I'm actually going to move here and live here.
Yeah, and now he's just going to move there while Cece here was like, oh yeah, that was a fun lesbian, fling, but I'm out.
Well, she did.
Hey,
she
long
did
distance
talk something
relationship.
about long distance relationships or whatever. But
It's
either way,
not gonna
yes.
work. Not that. Come on, that girl couldn't even
Okay.
be trusted to stay out of jail.
Even though they're only like a train ride away, because we've seen her leave the city and go to where she is going anyway. It's not like they're actually that far away. It's
The whole thing
My
was
big
dumb.
thing-
None of it made sense.
the thing that really got me was when David Schwimmer is in the tunnel and he sees like the ghosts, the hallucinate, whatever they are. Why did they go with the aliens? Like that made no sense.
You already said that, and I told you there's no reasoning.
I know, but that just
My
There's
other
no
question
sense.
is, let's say these people, all these kids came back from the 80s at these ages. How are you going to explain this to anybody?
no, but
Yeah.
that would have made a better episode. I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Like we have to see how these kids like,
Well, so even
acclimate
what
to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, see how they acclimate to our times and our world, and it's been kind of cool, that fish out of water thing.
Also, did you feel like there was some tension between Cece and her uncle?
Kind of felt
bit.
Because there was a little bit of a vibe there that I was just like, where are they going with this?
I did think that was a little weird. I was like, I felt it. Thought it was
I mean,
odd.
to your point though, like, what if they would have taken like his uncle and like shown him to his mom, like had a whole freak out or like a whole resolution on that diluted storyline? Actually,
Yeah, they
have
couldn't
something
have said like, "Hey, here's Maddie," and had a final goodbye for the poor lady who's like freaking out about her son the whole time.
right. But here's my biggest question out of all, because I brought this up when we first started talking about it, and I said I'll explain it when we get to this point. But with all the alien crap, how does it affect the plants? How does it affect the car? How does it make monster blood? How does it do any of this when they basically retcon half the series in the very last 2 episodes just to make aliens happen? That was so frustrating both times I had to sit through it.
So I've got an answer here, right? It's David's answer. They don't explain that part. They don't tell you. That's it.
You played the fifth.
Yeah, that's that's what you get, Grayson. Congratulations. Your consolation prize is not knowing anything, but you can say that you've watched the show. Like that's it. Now you get a little ribbon that says I participated, and that's about as far as that goes, buddy. Because I'm not gonna lie,
man, I swear to God.
Because
I need something from this experience.
I am with you on that one. Like I'm watching this and I was like, okay, it was 3-4 episodes, shit's cool, right? But I'm not gonna lie, this last third, the third act here, or whatever, the last 3-ish episodes it kind of just takes the show from like up here and just drives that spaceship literally right into the ground, because it gave me more questions than answers for damn near everything.
You know what else was never explained that they just left? I swear to God, they teased so much that there was something that happened that the mother knew about or like saw or experienced, or never even brought her up again.
Right.
Speaking again of cliffhangers, that ending, something wild. And I'm more mad at it because it's trying to act like it's super important and it's going to be continued in the next season, even though we all know it's not.
No, it's not.
That is, oh my God.
What was it again? I don't even remember.
Train
like
throws
one
up.
of the things-
Yeah, he pukes up a
that's
slug.
not-
That looks.
yeah.
It looks different than the other slug. So it's like, is he going to become an alien? Because out of
That
all the
slug's going to
people that
become a
got,
car.
that's where
the car
car
slug.
is. Yeah.
It was inside him. That was just his car. It's going to grow back.
So
Where'd you get your car?
He wasn't inside the car. The car was inside him.
I mean, Grayson, to be fair, the first season, the very end of that, in those last few seconds, is it being revealed that somebody is possessed by an evil spirit that's going to take over the world.
So that's a trend then? Leave them on cliffhangers that mean nothing and don't lead to anywhere?
At least so far.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying to do the R.L. Stine of, here's your plot twist, and at the very last page, there's another plot twist. But it just doesn't land in the show like it did the books.
Because in the books, it did it, and it was like, oh, wow, it was retrospect. It was about the story that had happened. And it was just twisting what you had seen. It wasn't, wait, here's 50 more questions now. It was more like, oh, it makes you think about the story. These, it's just like, never mind, the story's not done. So it's unsatisfying. Whereas the other ones, it was just twisting what you'd already read. Like, perfect example, finding out that the whole book, they were aliens and they were going to go to Earth.
Yeah.
You weren't like, but wait, what happens when they go to Earth? No, you didn't think that. You were just like, oh, wow, that was aliens the whole time. But that makes sense. The other way, very unsatisfying.
Right. Yeah, no, this one felt like they took Stay Out of the Basement and tore out like the last 10 pages from Invasion of the Body Squeezers and then taped it in. And then so there you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I think honestly we just can't. We've said it multiple times. It feels like the producers changed everything last minute. They wanted something different, forced people to rewrite it, and we got stuck with a mess that is this story.
Well, I should tell you, the rewrites weren't great then, if that's the case. They rewrote it into garbage. Because, like, realistically, that's what happens when you do rewrites and stuff like that, is, like, you feel a lot of things that are, like, disjointed and just kind of thrown off, right? Like, I mean, we all watch Captain America. That's been rewritten a whole bunch of times, rewritten, reshot. And, like, you can tell some places you're like, wait a minute, hold on. It's like, oh, they were definitely going for something different at this point, and it's like, well, now we have this weird like switch up, you know?
Yeah, Justice League too, where it's like, okay, very very different tones.
Right.
I just think we've said pretty much everything that could be said. I love Goosebumps as a franchise. I really want there to be another season to hopefully be better. But the way this one ended and all came together, I'm gonna have to give it like a 5 overall.
Okay, yeah. So David, rating for the episode, and obviously we know your rating for the series.
Episode was like a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Nolan, what about you? Rating for the episode and then the series.
I'm gonna be even harsher than 2.5, man. Like, and the only thing that saves this episode, and not even saves it really, but it's the fact that I get 2 Childish Gambino songs in one season. Like, that's impressive to me. Both of them didn't make any sense or fit, but I still got them, and that's kind of, you know.
It was like, we know music.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, damn,
you like this song?
2 Gambino songs? Okay, I like that. Yeah, I just overall though, like 2.5, dude, for this episode, because like even the middle bit where they're like, oh, we saved everybody and saved all the kids, and it's like everyone's just like milling about, like just chilling, like no one's doing anything, like. And then it turns into, oh, but we would like to take a walk because plot. And it's like.
Also, maybe I'm just a product of the times, but I cannot believe that throughout this whole thing, nobody was filming or taking pictures with their cell phones about some of this shit.
Yeah, especially in the base when they're stuck there, when they think they can't get out.
Or at the very least, once they get all these kids back home.
Right. Yeah.
Being like Uncle Pig, beep.
But yeah, so Nolan, what would you give the season as a whole?
But okay, so yeah, like I said, I get 2.5 for the episode, which is the lowest rated episode by far that I've ever given. But at the same time, I think it's well freaking deserved. And then let's see, started off strong, man. Like most were about 7.5, 8-ish or whatever in the beginning. Pretty solid episode.
It started falling apart around Monster Blood, in my opinion.
And then it was like Monster Blood, for some reason, it just took a hard left turn. It took a hard left turn. Gave us more questions than answers to a lot of things. So like overall, I think I'd probably give this the season on the whole, Preparation H style, probably about a 5.5, if I'm being honest.
I was like, well, half was good, half was bad, so 5.
Right. Yeah. Like we'll land somewhere in the middle because, you know, like acting was great. Music choices were really great for some episodes. And but yeah, overall, man, that freaking story just the overarching
dropped the ball.
Just dropped the. Yeah.
What about you, Grayson?
For me, pretty much. I mean, similar feelings on it. To be honest with you, I'm going to give this episode probably a 2. The way that this just takes a right turn, just keeps constantly falling, tries to wrap up a whole season and a brand new story in 48 minutes or less. Wild and bold choice. Definitely not something that I was. I didn't like that. As Nolan brought out, first half of the season, great. Music was great. Everything was fantastic. Last half, especially around Monster Blood, really took a huge dive. It felt like they kind of changed, like somebody had an idea to change the story to make it fit somewhat better. Wild choice to make this what they did with it. So honestly, I'm probably going to give the season a 4.5.
Yeah.
Just because this last 2 episodes, dude, it was just, it
didn't pay off anything that we'd been promised throughout the season.
I don't know. I mean, even like the writing took a dive, the acting took a dive. Everything was just like, I felt like I was watching a soap opera.
It's like everybody collectively decided they didn't want to be there.
100%. They're like, the money's running out. Let's just wrap it up.
And what about you, Keegan?
But it was disappointing because the season started off like so good. We had like character development, stories, plot, actual like decent tributes.
That's what makes it worse though. If it would have been mediocre from the beginning, it wouldn't have hurt so bad that it started to get so bad.
Right. Well, I think that's like what makes it hurt that much more is exactly that. It's like, dude, shit was great.
Because it had the potential.
It was swinging out of the gate. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and then it just is hard left turn.
And what are your scores, Keegan?
For the episode, probably like a 4.5 maybe. I don't know. It just kind of feels like it was a thing. The aliens didn't even look like they couldn't even try. And I think as far as like
they couldn't even be like plant-based aliens.
Yeah, like these ones would have worked well with the plants. Like and that's where kind of looking back at the series, there's a way to make it work with all the book titles. Like it felt like they kind of had an idea, but then they just like gave up halfway through writing it.
I'm going to say now, they could have done almost the exact same beats and just had it be some creature long forgotten from like under the ocean that was plant-based or something that showed up, and it would have made already 10 times more sense.
Well, that's what I was
saying.
They
could have had aliens that were plant-based, and it would have
but I'm saying they could have avoided aliens altogether.
Yeah.
And had it be just something mysterious that it could even have been in that cave, like the government was in there doing something and they woke up something and tried to contain it, or you know what I mean? Like,
or the government was doing testing and turned a plant monster thing.
Yeah, and they still could have kept almost everything they did, but just make it be a plant thing instead of aliens, and it would have fit together with 80% more than what they did.
I mean, how much more cool would it have been if like the government was trying to kill Dr. Brenner by like, giving him a laced plant just to keep him from uncovering the truth of like their investigations or anything like that in any way, shape, or form?
Oh yeah. Well, see, but that's the thing is like I think that gets into the unfortunates of like people actually having to do good writing.
God forbid.
God forbid, right? God forbid we just want a little bit of writing that's actually pretty solid, right? Because like I feel like that's exactly what happened. Is that's why we're disappointed, is because like the writing just it was pretty good and then it turned to shit essentially. Just it was awful after a point. And you're like, what happened? Did you guys fire people? Like, oh, actually, you know what? Question. I wonder now that I'm thinking about it, like as far as like timelines and things go, like I don't know exactly when it was like complete or whatnot. But what if the writer's strike had something to do with it?
I don't know if it was that timing, but
no, because
that's what I'm saying. Like maybe the time, because it does it goes like pretty solid to just garbage real fast, and doing having a writer's strike and stuff like that. I definitely know puts a damper on things super badly, because I know well, I mean, there's been a lot of shows that have suffered from that, right? Where it's like, oh, these first 3 seasons were great, writer's strike kind of thing, and it's like this season's awful, like the next 2 seasons are bad or something like that, or whatever. Like the show just kind of like falls off,
And what about your season score, Keegan?
Oh, I mean, I think it's very noticeable that Schwimmer has the most acting out of all these, because I think when he's on the screen is when the acting and maybe just the writing felt better too, and that could have just been him. I mean, some of the characters I liked, others I was like kind of pointless. We might have been able to trim some of the fat and make it just more streamlined. And like we've said, you could have picked the same books and made it work. And it just feels kind of fumbled. I don't know. I mean, there's things I don't hate myself for having watched it, but I couldn't give it probably above a 6. I don't think. I think that's pretty generous of myself, but
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hate everything. It started off really good, and there's good parts in there, but I feel like even if they cut some of the episodes or maybe make some of the episodes better at bridging the two, and like the ending was just so weird, and I just like the kids leaving with him. I just did not understand that. Like I know that's something we talked about kind of recently with Grace staying with Rocky. But at least that kind of made sense. Like he didn't know anyone or anyone that was going to be left.
Well, I was gonna say that one does make sense. This one is like I gotta go with them, or they're taking us with them. But why? Like,
why don't you just come back to Earth? Yeah, it's like 20 years down the road, but at least you're here and you're not in the pod no more. Like I don't know. That was an odd choice. It would have been better had they, I think, ended it with the kids living and being here, not this alien like mutation thing, and then just what's her name, Jen and Dr. Brewer.
I would have been fine with the aliens leave, and anybody that they had in those pods for like extended time, whatever, like had to die. Like they were just living off, like they're only still alive if they were in the pod because of the something like that, like some reason that they had to be gone, or they turned back into goo or something. But going with them made no sense.
Yeah, that was so odd. Yeah, such an odd. And then why was the Ramona there? Like I didn't even know when I saw her turn in.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like there's just it's so frustrating because I have so many more questions than I was given, or than the answers that were given. It just, and that I think really realistically is what kills it the most for me, is because exactly that. It's like, dude, it's like, as far as like, television and movies go, like, yeah, you should show, not tell, or whatever, right? Since that's like the medium, but like it did nothing. It didn't show me anything, and it damn sure didn't tell me anything either.
So I did do like some of the research, and it does look like they started production in February of 24 and then released in January of 25. So I honestly think
wasn't writer strike or anything.
Yeah, I think they just honestly bit off more than they could chew, to be like realistic. Just with how ambitious they were, they took on way too much.
When was the right? Now I'm thinking, like, when was the writer strike then?
2023.
And it's September 2023.
Yeah, when the first season came out.
All right. So, does anybody have any last thoughts, final words about this series before we wrap it up?
Can't wait for Daredevil. That's all I got to say.
I was literally going to say the same thing, Grayson. I was going to say, duh. I am so glad after this episode that this shit is done with, because good God, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm excited to see if they do a Goosebumps 3, what they decide to tackle with that one, and I hope that it comes together better. But I'm very happy to be moving on from this series.
Dude, that is it. That's literally it. That's all. Like, and it's crazy because, like, I don't think we're asking for too much here to just be like, hey, can you give us a coherent story that...
Whoa. No, that is a lot. Okay.
Am I asking for too much, guys? That
coherency? Coherency?
A coherent story that just makes some sense? That's you know what, that might be on me, guys. That's my bad.
To Nolan's point, if 4 guys on the internet that barely anybody knows yet can come up with way better stories than what's actually produced, I think we might be able to find a way, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
Either that or we need to get to LA quick.
That's what I'm saying. Give us at least, $5 or something. We'll write you a story. We got
you. Give us half as much as you paid these writers, and we'll come up with a better story.
And we'll come up with an actually decent, coherent story. Because it's just, I don't know if it's a laziness thing where they're just like, meh, just kind of like phoned it in, whatever, you know what I mean? Didn't really put a lot of thought into it. Or if it was the unfortunates that we've been getting a lot lately of, like, they don't know the source material. They're just writing stories that they want to write or tell, or what, you know what I mean?
I feel like they had to have known the source material a little, because there was enough in there that you're like, okay, they at least had to have read the books.
Well, that's what I mean.
And I think that's what makes it almost more infuriating, because you're like, okay, so you knew what you were doing, and you, like we said, there's an easy tie-in with you could easily tie the books together like this.
That's what I mean, right? Was it just like sheer laziness, or was it just like not caring or like what? Because
too many cooks in the kitchen is my guess. I don't know. I didn't work there, but I'm guessing just too many people, too many different ideas, and they're like writing different things, and it kind of gelled together is what we got.
And I get that, Keegan, because I've been in, I've been in rooms where the good idea fairy flies around a lot, dude. But it just sometimes, I don't know, man. Some people just gotta really like not step up, but like step in there and go, no. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Like, you know what I mean? We're gonna do this. We're gonna point A to point B, and then like whatever, you know what I mean? Like little bits we can put in there, we can like put in there or add, you know what I mean, to have like elements of certain things. But it's just like, because realistically, like a lot of it just didn't. It was like, oh, we called this one Monster Blood, but there was zero Monster Blood.
Yeah, I just think they need to lean more into the books and give us something good. Make a story that makes sense from point A to point B.
That's what I mean. And then work. I feel okay,
and then work in your little Easter eggs of whatever. Right.
Well, I was gonna say like in a show like this, or like a story, if you're gonna do it that way, right, where you're gonna have little like not mini episodes or whatever for like the books. This one is like one that you essentially work semi backwards.
I'm not gonna lie. If they said, here's 10 Goosebump books, we want you to write a story that encompasses all 10 of them together coherently.
Yeah.
Give me a week and I can do it. So there's no reason that they can't do. They just dropped the ball. They decided probably that something like oh, what's something that'll be marketable? What can we do to shock people? And went with that. And it was just a terrible choice.
Well, see, that's the thing too, is like I think even then to your point, David, like if I gave you like Goosebump books to write like here, work these all in, like maybe me as the person giving you the workload, I would at least have been like, okay, so this is a
thematically what goes along with what,
right? Like this is a vampire book, 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 vampire book. Like they're all relatively similar, and it's like now write me a vampire story, like storyline.
But if you're a good writer, you should be able to do it even with vastly different, and they could have with this.
Sure, but I mean, like at the same time,
I don't want to give them any outs by saying it should have been picked different books. No, the writing was awful. That's just how it is. The writers dropped the ball, and even with totally mismatched stories, they could have put it together and at least given us answers for things that were like, I don't care if it was, I mean, it still could have been dumb answers, but it would have been answers.
But it's still answers. Yeah, it's not giving you more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Something. Well, because it was one of those things like I was like, because obviously, Stay Out of the Basement and Body Squeezers or whatever, like are two wildly different, like, you know what I mean, like ends of the spectrum here. They're like not even like close, right? Hell, I don't even think Stay Out of the Basement and Haunted Car are the same, like the same genre kind of thing, right? But yeah, it just you're probably right though. Like to not give anybody like an easy out or whatever of we just grabbed
it just didn't work
in a bag and pulled out and threw them on the table. It was like, here, write a story about these ones. We just grabbed it random. Have fun.
But yeah, so guys, we are starting Daredevil next week. That should definitely be I mean, just from the first couple episodes, I already know it's better.
Oh, 1000%. Already watched the first episode. Super happy with it so far. I am the only I don't want to say this too early, too preemptively. But we're back, baby. Like, yeah, it felt like it was 2017, 2018 again. I was like, this is mean, this is gritty, this is nice. I like this.
So there's your tease. We don't want to give away too much, but we will be doing that. And Keegan, I believe Daredevil's actually going to be on a different channel, right?
Yeah, we'll be over on the Society of Main Characters, where we've also been doing our monthly book reviews. So, of course, hop over there. Description will have your link. So if you want to just hop down there, click that. Subscribe over there, because obviously we'll be doing the book club. We'll be doing some more reviews and maybe some other things we've kind of talked about.
A little more pop culture-y type stuff.
Yeah, and maybe some other kind of fun things, games and stuff like that. So I think it'll be fun. And, of course, all of us are still up to our usual stuff. So go check those out, and we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Stay out of the basement.